and they said, here's a stunt driver, here's all the vehicles. You're on a test track in the middle of the desert.
This sounds so fun.
Here on the beach was a bit more of a challenge. When you're dealing with a time-sensitive thing, you just got to be ready for anything.
Hi, we're here with James Nolan, a sound mixer based in Los Angeles, California, and we're going to go over some scenes from jobs that James has mixed, and he's going to tell us about various challenges he faced, how he made it sound good.
Pretty much, yeah.
Simple. All right, let's get started. Hailing from Dublin, Ireland, James Nolan is a production sound mixer now based in Los Angeles, California. James has mixed many different styles throughout his still budding career, doing commercials for clients like Nike and Toyota, and documentaries with networks like Vice, National Geographic, and the Disney Channel. His newest career venture as A1 sound mixer for a spate of Universal Pictures press junkets has seen him travel the country, promoting films like Good Boys and the latest in the Fast and the Furious film franchise.
This first one's a video comparison commercial I did. I told you before I do a lot of car commercial work, and we did this one for Acura at a sort of test track that Honda have at the sort of in the middle of the Mojave Desert.
Ooh.
So, let's give it a quick watch and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Sounds good, yeah. There's engine noises here too, as well.
That's another interesting thing about this is that they actually gave me a list of sound effects they wanted recorded. Because they knew I had a history of recording sound effects. Before I did production sound, I did a lot of post work. So I did a lot of sound design and sound effects editing, and I recorded my own sound effects.
That's cool.
So at the start of this job, they actually gave me a list of sound effects they wanted from all the vehicles. Basically, they gave me a stunt driver, and they said, here's a stunt driver, here's all the vehicles.
This sounds
so
fun.
They said, you're on a test track in the middle of the desert, here's everything you need. We're going to go and film some stuff that doesn't need sound. Take an hour or two and knock this list out for us.
It's amazing.
And so I mounted some mics on the engines of the car, the exhausts, and then I had like a stereo mic set up on the inside of the car.
Very nice. And what did you use when you mic'd the exhaust? I'm curious about that one specifically.
I had a mount for my 8050 where a friend of mine, Shane Collins, a great DP, he had this sort of like 1/4 to 120 mount that let me put it onto a suction cup, and I suction cupped it right above the exhaust, and it had a flexi arm on it. Put the shock mount and my wind protection there, Ryco windshield kit 1, aiming down towards the exhaust. And then I had just next hour running to the recorder that was in the trunk.
Yeah, very cool.
And then I also had like a DPA lav on the engine. On one of the engines was sort of at the back of the car. And it was sort of like the engine block was there, and I sort of put the lav mic to the side, sort of mounted it to the side.
This is
that,
fun.
and then the internal mic as well. I sort of sat in the passenger seat while we went around the track. We went for it. I would just tell him, give me like start, idle, stop without doing anything. Let's do one where we just do a lap of the track just to give post every sound for all the different corners and stuff. And then we did a bunch of what you call buys, vehicle buys, which is the vehicle driving past you. And one of the ones they use at the very start of this series of comparison videos. That sound there. Yeah.
Nice.
They use that there. That's one of the ones where a stunt driver just drove right past me. So you'll see in terms of the actual production dialogue recording, you can see the framing here.
Yeah,
so,
it's very wide.
Yeah, so super wide, you know, like 7 feet probably of headspace.
And he's walking a lot, right? So plant mic wasn't really an option because he's moving among the cars.
Yeah, no, it had to be a lav, even though it was so windy. Thankfully, on hand, I had a bunch of pre-cut circles of bumblebee fur, which I find to be the best in terms of wind protection for lav mics.
Your level of comfort. Opt for the available NSX.
So I had that over the DPA concealer that I was using at the time. But the results that I ended up getting, having that sort of fur over the mic, it ended up really good.
Where was the transmitter on his body?
Just clipped onto his back belt, I believe.
Because we never really see his back.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
but I mean, it was hidden by his shirt anyway.
cool.
It wasn't necessary to break out a waist strap or anything like that.
And this is one of the instances where you are the only sound person. You don't have an A2 or
like I said, about 80% of my work it's just me.
Cool.
I do relish the scenarios where I get a boom up.
Yeah.
This wasn't one of those. No. So you can see here, he even references the wind in his opening line.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, I'm Bradley Haselmeyer out in the middle of the desert. It's windy, it's hot, and I don't care. I'm here for you. Today I'm comparing the Acura ILX to the BMW 230i.
So it's all just one DPA 4060 in that mount with the wind protection on it. And it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
Then for the shots where he's actually driving through the track, I had one mic hidden right here on his shirt.
So right below the first button then on his shirt.
And then I had a backup mic stored in the wind visor. Thankfully, the mic on him sounded best in this scenario. But whenever I do in-car work, I always have a second mic, usually like hidden on a sun visor with the transmitter tucked in above it. Because with a seatbelt across your tally, you're just
never know.
You're asking for trouble with a seatbelt rubbing against their shirt.
And now, is that a thing where, I think maybe it was you I was speaking to recently, I have heard that a lot of these big car companies, they must have the actor wear a seatbelt by law.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So you can't lose the seatbelt, you have to deal with it.
I've seen circumstances on set where they'll get a brilliant shot and a producer in the back of the room will be like, wait a minute, they weren't wearing a seatbelt, you've got to reshoot all of that again.
Oh God,
yeah.
It's painful.
It happens, yeah. Another thing worth mentioning is when Bradley here, it's a great shot of him, when he had to do his test drive, we were in a follow car, sort of a follow van, and in the van there was a big monitor set up for the producers to see. They had my Sennheiser IEMs on them, but they needed to hear what was coming from the car, from the picture car.
Right.
And that in that case is what I used my my modified G3 for. I have a remote antenna.
Yeah, just pop that on top of the car.
It's just a little SMA connector, and that remote runs to a mount that you put on the outside of the vehicle.
Where was it specifically on the vehicle?
I had it just outside the trunk, and I had two separate things holding it in place. I had a strip of Joe Sticky stuff and then another strap over it. Yeah. Because I knew if it's on a vehicle, you want to at least double make sure that it's going to stay where it needs to be.
Absolutely.
And then because that remote antenna got it outside of the vehicle, we had pretty clear reception in the follow vehicle.
Wow. All right, I'd love to get into the next one, and it'd be cool if you could set this up and tell us what we're about to watch.
Sure. So this year I became sort of an A1 sound mixer for a lot of Universal's press junkets for their big movies that they released. This year they released Hobbs Shaw, and we did the press junket interviews on the shore of a beach in Kauai, which was one of the islands in Hawaii.
Wow.
Supposedly it's the most beautiful island. Yeah. So it was stunning to get to work there. It looked like you were in paradise everywhere you looked. And we had sort of exterior mini stages set up, just in 20 feet, 30 feet in from the beach. So we were in
the ocean then.
So we were in cover, but the beach was right there. Yeah. This like giant cove called Princeville.
Yeah.
Another thing to do with these press junkets is you can, if you want, you can wire the talent themselves. The talent typically stay in place, and every 5-10 minutes there's a new journalist. You can go through 30 journalists in one day or more even. But typically what we do is we just use booms on our press junkets, and we can control. Typically we do them in a hotel, and we can control sound to an extent. And we can get booms nice and close. Yeah. Here on the beach was a bit more of a challenge, but I used myself and Marlon Clark, who was the other sound mixer on that adventure. We both used DPA 4017Bs as our main boom mic for the talent, and it sounded incredible. Like it's got such nice rejection because it's a shotgun mic, but it's natural sounding rejection. Like you can hear the beach, but it's fine because the whole point we shot on the beach
Yes.
was you could see you were there.
Absolutely.
And the waves, while they're present in what you hear if you were to watch one of these press interviews, you hear them in a sort of a natural way.
Right,
They're
it's
just
not
very, very
overwhelming.
low in the mix.
Cool.
And as opposed to some other shotgun mics, they don't sound sort of strange. Like off-axis sounds on lots of shotgun mics, they sound coloured, the response to them. They don't really sound natural. But on those DPA mics, and as well as I find with like Sheps, CMIT, you get a nice sort of off-axis.
The thing I've heard about the Sheps, the CMIT though, is some sound mixers don't like to use that in an environment like Hawaii because the humidity kind of messes with them a little bit. I'm not sure. I've never had that problem.
Yeah, I did have that problem. In Orlando, I used to do some work for Disney.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a case where I had the Sheps CMIT just outright die in the middle of a shoot. Because it was like, almost 100% humidity. Yeah. It was 4 a.m. We were filming a marathon for one of Disney's marathons. Yeah. And it was at 4 a.m. the Sheps just died because it was so humid outside. Yeah.
Were you able to resurrect it later?
You store it for a while and come back, but I just switched to using a backup mic, like a 416. Cool. But that's the great thing about MKH mics that Sennheiser make. They're immune to humidity. I've found the 4017 is also completely immune to any environment I've thrown it into.
That's wonderful.
Which is great.
I want to hear this. I'm
excited. Absolutely.
Let's play it.
And I brought you another gift because you've always been so kind to me. And I know that you love tequila. And this is for you, my friend, because since day number 1, you're always the coolest guy. You help a lot of...
Beautiful. The sound does sound very crisp.
Yeah.
It's really wonderful.
4017. Really
thank
nice.
you for that. And thank you for those words. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you didn't...
Quite heavy wind protection on, though. Was it that windy you needed that?
It wasn't that windy, but there were scenarios where the wind cropped up. Also, when you're dealing with a time-sensitive thing like these
of course,
press
you
interviews,
can't stop and
there's
put
no
more.
time to stop to
that
adjust things. Yeah, you just got to be ready for anything.
So was this all boomed? There were no lavs?
For this particular one, yes.
Okay.
And then there are also other press junkets where we do use lavs.
Right.
Depending on the amount of talent we have. I've found that when there's more than 2 or 3 people in any interview, not just press, if there's like 3 or more on one side of camera, you should probably be using lavs. In particular for press junkets, because they're just going to be, the talent is typically staying there.
Yeah.
And then there was one scenario, which this is just fun to mention.
Yeah.
A tropical rainstorm came across us during one of the press interviews. It was so loud and so windy that I didn't even have to say, let's hold for sound. It was DJ himself was sort of like, let's hold on.
This.
And so we noticed that the tarp roof that we had, the rainwater was kind of bulging. So we had to. So myself and Max, one of our comm ops, we were trying to push the rainwater off to sort of drain it for safety purposes. So we put a stop to the interview just for that.
Oh God.
And then Dwayne kind of saw we were struggling, so he got up and he helped us.
Move aside, big squeak.
Yeah, pretty much.
DJ's the new key grip on the tube.
It's like a head taller than both of you. It's great.
I called him the new key grip. The actual key grip came over and helped us as well. We managed to drain all the rainwater off and we kept going.
Oh, wow.
From there on, what they did was they simply spoke about it in the interview. They said, we're here during a tropical rainstorm.
Which that's the only thing you can do sometimes.
Here in Kauai.
Yeah, you just set it up.
And,
exactly.
Dwayne liked it because he's one of his lines he says in regards to the islands is water is a blessing. That's what he says.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So, yeah. So it all worked out in the end.
Here in the islands, rain is a good thing.
Is this the blessing?
Is this a blessing?
Well, thank you, James, so much for having us and showing us these clips.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, especially that fun behind-the-scenes moment. I really enjoyed that. Thanks again.
Thanks so much.
And thank you for watching. We'll be back soon with more stuff.
Thanks again for watching URSA Strap's exclusive content made by Bird Murmur. For more information on anything or anyone you saw in this video, check the info below for links. Don't see something you're looking for? Then please comment below. We check the comments and we love interacting with you guys. We created this series because we are passionate about sound, film, and storytelling. New episodes are out every week, so make sure you subscribe.
Tune in next week when we comb through James Nolan's sound kit. This is your host, Kim Kylland, signing off. Is stuff a good way to put it?
Stuff.
Stuff. We'll be back with more stuff.
That's good. It's uncanny.
I did
I was
used to
listening to
live
myself.
there.